Aries, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your April shift reading. So we're looking at the shape you are shifting out of in the month of April, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like along the way. So Aries, before we pull some cards, as I was meditating on your energy, a really specific image came through of you as a winged being. I kept getting images of, like, first I saw like a dragon and I was like, okay, I asked for a different image because a dragon is an image I've been working with. If you follow my moon stories on Patreon or Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. So I was like, okay, give me a fresh image for Aries. And I still kept seeing winged beings. And then even more specific, I just kept asking for more specifics. And I got this image of actually what it feels like for wings to begin to grow out of your back. It was like you were sprouting wings from your back. And very specifically, I felt the energy of, if you've seen Black Swan, there's this really gorgeous part of Black Swan where the black feathers of the swan are starting to pierce through Natalie Portman's skin, and they're like coming out like spikes on her back, and they're itching and they're bothering her, and she's like trying to pull them out, trying to pull these feathers out, but she's turning into the swan. She's turning into the Black Swan. And so there seems to be this shift that's happening for you, Aries, where you are growing wings, and perhaps there's something specific about growing wings out of your back where you can't quite see what's going on, but you can feel the process, and the process is really uncomfortable, because it was like I could feel what it felt like to sprout wings, and that was not actually a comfortable process for you. So this is really interesting. It's like, we are in your season. Happy birthday, my friends. What a time to be celebrating a birthday in the middle of this pandemic. But it's like, even in the middle of all of this, you, Aries, the folks I'm picking up on, are sprouting wings, but there is immense discomfort in that process. Just these like black feathers. Even the dragon I saw had like dark wings. It's like you're turning into something else, or you are getting the wings to be able to fly, to be able to rise up and like spread your wings or soar to a different height, something like this. And it's interesting too, because I just want to bring up, before we pull your shift cards, I have this card from the Mary L. Tarot out here with us. This is a card I pulled for your energy, specifically as in the collective reading for the global pandemic. That's a previous video that I have posted in March. So go check that out if you haven't already. But this is the guide from the Mary L. Tarot that came out to guide you through this time as we all deal with this COVID-19. And it's the 10 of Pentacles, and it's really specifically this dark horse with wings. And then this even looks like the ram, which is associated with Aries energy. So there's something here about like you gathering up all of your groundedness and all of your sense of internal safety and self-worth in order to rise up. Notice how they're flying through the air, high up in the sky, in order to rise up into the sky and spread your wings now. And so it's interesting that that's the image that's coming through. That's also part of the imagery for your guide through the pandemic. Interesting stuff, Aries. Let's see where this goes. So we're going to use the Spolia Tarot here, and I'm going to first ask what shape you are shifting out of in April 2019. Give you a couple shuffles. Okay. What is the shape Aries is shifting out of in April 2020? I think I said 2019. Whoa, that was weird. What is the shape that Aries is shifting out of in April 2020? Too many cards. One card, please. What is the shape that Aries is shifting out of in April 2020? Here we go. Shifting out of the Six of Cups. Interesting, all this spring energy, Easter energy with the little chicks and the ducks and the flowers. Okay, interesting. What shape is Aries shifting into in April 2020? Well, that's a linear progression. From the Six of Cups to the Seven of Cups, this is your shape shift. There's something about these little chicks or these ducks that I'm seeing in the Six of Cups as sort of being nestled in the nest because they're tucked away in these baskets. See that? They're kind of tucked away, huddled up in the baskets, still part of the nest. You know, Six of Cups gives us images of feeling close with the people we love, feeling comfort, feeling nestled into some like emotionally comforting situation. And then the Seven of Cups talks about opening up your options or opening up the energy that is possible for you. Beginning to imagine more for yourself. It's like I'm seeing these cups as sort of bubbles beginning to pop up in your mind, like boop, 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 like this. And each one containing a different idea or a different direction or a different possibility for what you could do now. Perhaps what you could do now that you're growing wings. You know, it's like these young ducklings have yet to fly. They haven't figured that out yet. They're not old enough. They haven't grown enough. But through this process, as they begin to start to spread their wings and start to kind of try it out and start flapping around, they might find like, oh, wait, I've got way more options than I thought I do. I have way more options available to me than just cuddling up in my baskets here, cuddling up in my nest. There are more creative potentials than I previously realized. That's what I'm seeing. But I'm feeling a discomfort with this for whatever reason, like suddenly having all of these creative options available to you beginning to percolate around your mind, around your headspace. It's like, it's almost like too much. And it can easily lead to shutdown. Like it can easily lead to sort of like, like all these things are popping around me and I'm just sort of like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to go back into my nest. Okay. And so I'm feeling that tension. I'm feeling that tension of beginning to grow these new wings and which expands your world and expands what's possible for you. But it does ask you to leave the comfort of the familiar. And so there's a tension present that is pretty palpable with this Seven of Cups. All right, let's keep pulling cards. Let's pull the cards for what that shape shift looks like and feels like for you from the 6 to the 7. Again, a really linear progression. This is like a natural progression, and it very much reminds me of like the natural progression of growing up. You know, the natural progression of leaving the nest, of maturing, of learning to fly, and that we all progress through from youth into adulthood. This is a very natural progression, even if it feels kind of scary. Okay. Let's ask what that shapeshift looks and feels like for Aries. got our 3 cards. Let's see what we got. Wow, yeah, exactly. It's like the only thing trapping you. There's so much available to you, and the only thing that seems to be trapping you is your own like mental, all of the mental energy that's coming with this. So let's take a look at that shapeshift. It looks like the Knight of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the 8 of Swords. There's that trapped mental energy. There's that feeling of like complete mental. I've been feeling the 8 of Swords lately as mental overwhelm of just being like, this is all like a little bit too much. And it's making me feel that sense of suddenly I have this like wide open landscape available to me. I have a completely other level of existence, the sky, available to me because I have wings. And it's like, it's too much. Like broadening your plane of the planes that you can navigate, while it's very exciting and it's opening up your world and it's sort of creating all of these ideas and fantasies about what that could mean. I think it's also, it can be incredibly overwhelming and make you feel like it's all too much. And then you get in this like paralysis, fear paralysis, where you actually feel stuck. And I always see this flower in this card as Hanged One energy. Just in that suspension. So again, there's this tension, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, we're all in the middle of this pandemic. We don't know what the future holds. We are actually physically restricted in terms of our movements. Like we can't travel to other countries right now. We can't even, many of us, depending on, you know, the state and city mandates, like we can't even leave our houses, nor should we necessarily, with everything going on, for the safety of the public and the safety of ourselves. And so it's weird. This is the tension. Aha, look, this is the tension. As you're beginning to spread your wings, look at that. As you're beginning to spread your wings, Ace of Cups, and you're feeling the sudden overflowing percolation of like a complete new start, Ace of Cups. There's like this new emotional energy, this new overflowing, joyful, creative, exciting abundance, because you are growing wings and spreading them for the first time. And yet it's like you go immediately back and forth between the two, feeling like, yes, strangely, in this time of restriction and isolation and social distancing, I am able to spread my wings in this completely new way. But then it's like, oh wait, something is still limiting my movements. And so I'm back in the mental, the feeling of being trapped mentally, and like all of the paralysis and stagnation mentally in terms of like your thought processes and the mental spinning that can come along with that. I'm seeing you toggling back and forth between the two because something is happening here, Aries, to like kick you out of the nest. That's how I'm seeing this Knight of Wands. This is your energy. This is fire energy here. And it's like this fire, it's interesting. I think your response to this whole COVID pandemic is, it's like, that's what I'm seeing as the fire. This pandemic has started a fire in your world, in the world. And it's sort of forced you out of the confines of the familiar. It's forcing you out of the nest. Check it out. It's almost like if you're these little ducklings and COVID-19 comes in and you dropped the bomb on me, baby, right? Comes in and kind of blows up this little comforting nest that you've built for yourself, and you're forced to flee. That's, you know, and I'm speaking metaphorically here. I'm not saying that you're going to be forced to flee your home. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. Although, you know, who knows what's going to happen with this thing. And we don't know what the future is going to bring, and what the spread of this pandemic is going to bring for each of us individually, but certainly emotionally, spiritually, metaphorically, creatively, there's something here about this lighting up your world in a completely new way, filling your comfortable space with smoke and flame, and forcing you out, forcing you to get on the horse, take action, and go. And what you're rushing towards is this. It's like the Knight of Wands might be fleeing for their life, but look, it's like it's such a positive thing with the Ace of Cups. They're running right into the Ace of Cups energy, running right into, it's like they might be fleeing from this disastrous situation, but they're running right into the Ace of Cups, which is the hummingbird spreading its wings. It's this idea of suddenly all of these cups bursting for you, bursting with possibility, bursting with new life, absolutely overflowing with newness. Because you are spreading your wings for the first time, because you are up in a completely new stratosphere. You've got a whole new plane of the earth, a whole new plane of existence to explore. And it is popping you off creatively, emotionally. And again, there is definitely contraction with this expansion. If the Ace of Cups is the expansion of you getting your wings and trying them out for the first time and experiencing all of this new energy, then the Eight of Swords is the contraction of worry, fear, guilt, confusion, this back and forth tension. Expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. That's exactly the energy that I was feeling with the Seven of Cups. Yes, your world is expanding. Yes, your creativity is absolutely bursting. The possibilities are opening up to you, and yet there's contraction here as well. Which makes a lot of sense. I think that's always true when we're in a process of expansion. You can't really expand without contraction. So allow that process to be part of it without allowing this to take over. And keep your wings clipped. Keep your wings completely bound. It's like, don't feverishly try to stop this process by pulling out your own feathers, like back to the black swan imagery. Like, don't try to pull them out just because it's uncomfortable. The expansion contraction is an uncomfortable sensation. That doesn't mean you have to pull the feathers out and prevent them from happening. It's like Natalie Portman tried to do that in that movie, and she had like all of these scratches all over her back from her own feverish resistance to what was happening to her. And guess what? Nothing was going to stop that process from happening. Nothing was going to stop those feathers from emerging from her being and transforming her into what she needed to transform into, to take her to this higher plane of freedom and movement. I'm going to get you a card from the Botanical Tarot by Kevin J. Stanton. It's this beautiful deck of just major arcanas. I've been using this deck specifically because it's all botanicals, it's all flowers, because it's spring, you know? Aries season is this beautiful springtime energy, and as we find ourselves with the familiar structures that we have known to be collapsing and crumbling, lit on fire, and we're having to shift away from the familiar structures that we have become comfortable in. It's like I'm imagining this as the flowers of spring. You know, nature still grows even though our like human society may be and the structures that we've built may be collapsing. Nature always finds a way, you know, life finds a way. Nature will continue. I get the images of like flowers and other greens continuing to sprout up through the rubble, through the wreckage of what's going on with us right now. And so I'm going to get a card for you here, Aries, to end this portion of your shift reading, to see what is sprouting up through the rubble. What is sprouting up through the rubble for Aries at this time? That was quick. Magician. Yeah, exactly. There's this like really incredible creative opportunity for you here to use all of the tools at your disposal, to use all of the resources you have to create the life you want and to make magic. You know, the magician for me is the creator. It is having the energy of the creator working. It's almost like I'm getting images of like a mad scientist working in the lab, you know, or like this like, you know, Merlin type energy of one that is absolutely obsessed with their own thing they are developing or their thing that they are creating. This is what you're being invited into here. And what we're seeing here is mistletoe living on an oak branch. And it's like there's something here about your environment being stabilizing and somehow providing for you. Or if it hasn't already, like it needs to be. The environment needs to be stabilized. I mean, like, what a thing to say in the middle of a pandemic. But there's like, that's sort of the same contradictory energy that is present with the Ten of Pentacles being your guide through this pandemic. It's like somehow you've got all of this grounded earth energy that is inside of you, that is actually giving you the sense of safety and security you need to rise up to new heights now and to spread these new wings and feel this newfound sense of freedom and power to create the life you want, because there's a newfound sense of security somehow. It's like this is a symbiotic relationship present here. This mistletoe is able to live because of the ecosystem that the oak provides. So perhaps there is an infrastructure emerging out of this where you realize, oh, actually I do have support systems. I do have systems in place. Even if there's support systems inside of yourself, I do have what I need. I do have the resources at my disposal to create what I want to create. It's that kind of a realization that's peeking up through the wreckage of this pandemic. Wow, what a shift. What a beautiful shift of just like, you know, the Aries that I'm speaking to, again, from the 6 to the 7, this is a natural emotional progression for you. From the 6 to the 7 of Cups, this is absolutely a natural progression of growing up, of maturation. And again, don't fight that. Don't fight those wings beginning to grow, beginning to burst out of you. Okay. Wow. All right, Aries, I'm going to take this reading into an extended now. And we're going to unpack this reading entirely. I'm going to use the Aquarian Tarot plus a couple of other Oracle decks to get clarity on each card that we have just gone through here and really get more specific into what this is really saying for you and how this is all playing out. And then we'll get some oracle guidance to guide you through the month of April. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, stick around. There will be a preview of that extended reading at the end of this one so that you can see if it's resonating with you. If it is, click the link in the description box below and that will take you over to Patreon. Patreon is a community that I have created for folks who've been following my work for some time. If that's you and you know that when I pull cards, it seems to resonate for you, Patreon may be the place for you to go. So go over there and check out all of the options available to you. You can sign up at the most affordable tier, and you will be able to view the extended reading for this April shift video. Okay, so if you want to view the extended, Patreon is where you go. Please read the full description so that you know how it works. But if you have questions, obviously feel free to reach out to me. Okay. All right, Aries, thank you so much for joining me. Happy, happy, happy birthday, my friend. You are the magician in your birthday month, and there is a lot of beautiful, auspicious energy here for you, even amidst the contraction. All right. Take care, Aries. I'll talk to you soon. Release the feathers, the pieces of them that have defined you, that you have been holding on to. Let it go. Let it blow in the wind. Wow, really unexpected message coming through there. Note the birds with black feathers, echoing the feathers coming out of your back, and feathers. Here, it's like maybe in order to grow your own wings now, you've got to release the feathers of this other one that you've been sort of maybe riding on their coattails or something like that. Something about like their feathers being your wings. And it's like, no, Aries, your own wings are sprouting out now, which means you have to release this other person's wings.